Hi everyone, this is Heather Lautinen from the Flourish.Academy. This is episode 305 and we're talking about clients that don't like themselves in photos. But first, this is a follow-up to episode 304. So you'll definitely want to watch that one first. We have a photographer friend of ours in the community group who has a client right now asking for a full refund, and we're helping her work through that. But there was a comment on that video from my friend Jennifer. So I'm going to read it to you. She says, Heather, do you have any advice for dealing with clients who truly do not like the way they look? I do a lot of headshots for theater groups, and every so often I will be up against someone who cannot stand the way they look in a photo. I'm never sure what to say other than reassure them that they look great, but I had an actor give me a very hard time once, and after a reshoot and still unhappy with every angle, he asked me to flip the image so it was the reflection that he saw in the mirror. That's fine. From my observation, it's the people who love to take selfies who don't like the way they appear in a regular photo. Any advice for how to handle those clients would be appreciated. This is actually a really good subject. I learned very early on in my career that there are a lot of people who don't like the way they look in photos. Whether it's a self-esteem issue or what, I'm not sure because I am not a therapist or a psychologist. But I found the best way to approach this is, of course, to reassure them and point out the things that are really beautiful about them, show them on the back of the camera, ask them if they have a particular angle that they like better than another. So for instance, for my brides, I will talk to them prior to the wedding and I'll say, what do you love about yourself in photos? Is there a certain angle that you love? Because ultimately they're gonna tell me what they don't love, which is what I'm going for, but I don't like to frame it that way. So sometimes they'll say to me, I don't really like my profile, or I don't like my arms. So with that knowledge, I know how to pose them, or what areas to emphasize versus what areas to de-emphasize. Sometimes you'll have somebody that has like beautiful eyes, but a big giant nose. Okay, well, so I have to be careful with their profile. Maybe I want to focus on their eyes more to make sure that we are showcasing their strengths and not what they don't like about themselves. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. But sometimes you will get people who are just, wow, so down on themselves, which is really sad. And it's one of the many reasons I decided to pursue a certification in life coaching. So I'm a certified life coach, so I can usually help and talk with people to kind of get through that. Again, not a therapist, but I use my personality and I read a ton of books on this subject so that I can learn to work with different personality types or different issues to help them get through that. As a result, I have very few people who, in the end, don't like their photos. Now, occasionally, there are just people who cannot see themselves beyond whatever they don't like. And I usually use humor, so I like to joke around a lot, and I'll say things like, listen, somebody loves you, and I don't care how ugly you are. Somebody wants to see you in a photo, so why don't you go ahead and smile anyway and let me take the photo. I'll say things like that to kind of lighten the mood and just kind of change it up and make it more fun. They get to know me. I mean, the key here is building a relationship. Building a relationship with that person so that they trust you. Yes, there are occasionally going to be people that will just never like themselves in photos, and probably this actor that you referred to is one of them. Okay, at that point, there's not a whole lot I can do except take the best possible photo that I can and reassure them that they look great. And then beyond that, I might want to refer them to a therapist so that they can get some help. I mean, I say that kind of lightheartedly, but I had a bride once who was just drop dead gorgeous. I mean, like, take your breath away beautiful. And she just did not see herself that way. And I actually take that as a challenge. I love these challenges. So I thought to myself, okay, I have a lot of people who are not comfortable in front of the camera. So what I tend to do is, again, talk with them, reassure them, and then I wait until I get a really good photo and I'll show them on the back of the camera, and usually they'll see it and they'll be like, wow, I look really good. They'll perk up a little bit, their posture will improve, they'll smile better, you can tell they have more confidence, and it's fantastic, and the day is great. Well, in this case, I knew she was pretty tough, so I thought, I'm gonna have to wait till I get like a killer shot, which I did. I got a killer shot of her. So excited. I ran over to her and I said, look at yourself in this photo. What? This is amazing. You are basically a supermodel. She looked at that photo and she went, I mean, I guess it's okay. I thought, oh my goodness, all right, this is gonna be a challenging one. So I made it my mission. Oh, the rest of the day, I just worked on her. And by the end of the day, she was more comfortable. She wasn't ever gonna love herself in her photos. I mean, it's the only face you've got. So as near as I can figure, you better learn to love it or at least tolerate it. And by the way, if you're one of these people that hates yourself in photos, stop it. It gets really old for the photographer. And if there's something that you don't like about yourself and it's within your realm to change, then change it. If I don't like something, I'll just do something different. I'll learn how to do my makeup different or whatever. I'm not talking about plastic surgery or anything like that. I'm just saying if there's something I don't like that I can alter, then I will. And I like myself in photos, and you see yourself in photos and you retouch yourself and you look better, and it's fantastic. Not everybody can get to that point. I mean, we do become like, you know how people that work in a bar, like a bartender or a hairstylist in a salon, they become almost like pseudo therapists because people come to them and they talk to them. Photographers are the same way. So it might behoove you to read some books on self-esteem and helping people. I dedicate my life to it. I find it fascinating. So as a result, people want to be around me because I try to be incredibly encouraging and get them to look at it a different way. And then if you can change kind of their mental space around it, then it's funny how their eyes change and how they see themselves. And you can get them to this point. It takes dedication, it takes work beyond photography, it takes a focus to serve and on other people, and I will do everything within my power to make people feel good about themselves. But there is an occasional outlier who is just not going to like the photo. Take the best you can and move on. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.